You're listening to the Long Game Podcast with Sandra Scaiano. In a world where everyone is doing, it's easy to get lost in a sea of comparison, secret tricks, and promises of overnight success. The long game is my approach to business. The actual day in and day out philosophy that you have to show up, you have to do the work, and there's no quick fixes for long-term success. I'm a web designer, digital strategist, and energetic thinker, and I'm here to share the process and lessons I experience with my clients daily who are going through the same struggles of building a business as you are. We'll hear from successful entrepreneurs sharing their long game strategies, and I'm fun, so we're going to have a little fun along the way too. Thanks for being here. Let's get to today's episode. Hello, we are here today with a superstar entrepreneur who runs her own biz and services with the long game approach. Holly Gillen is the go-to video gal. She works with high-performing, leading ladies who want to save time on both sides of the camera. She helps you get comfy on camera through her courses and in-depth video challenges, which are awesome. I've taken them. And you can find all she has to offer at hollygstudios.com. Hi, Holly. Welcome.
Hello, Sandra. I'm so happy to be here with you today.
We're in lockdown. We're in lockdown mode still, but thank you for making the time. You know, I have to start off with the story of how we met because it just shows what can happen when you reach out. It goes back to something I mentioned in episode 2 of showing up. So I had recently moved from Brooklyn to New Jersey, and I was on Holly's mailing list. I've been a fan for a while. And one day I just scrolled to the bottom of the email and I saw that her biz address was in the next town from my new town. So I sent her an email introducing myself and just saying that I wanted to expand my in-person network, also known as I wanted to find other female entrepreneur friends to hang out with. And would she be into meeting for coffee? And it turns out Holly was in the same boat as me, having recently moved to New Jersey from Queens. And we met and we hit it off. And she has been my go-to video gal and a good friend. So show up. Reach out, do those extra things because it can really launch into a beautiful friendship. So Holly, tell us what you do. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Sure. So I am the go-to video gal, and I like to joke around and say, like, I didn't just fall off the back of the truck and crown myself that. Like, right. I actually have been working in video production since 2008. I've worked as a camera operator, a video editor, and a producer in New York City, freelancing, working on tons of different projects for everything from HBO to the Sundance Channel and everything in between. In 2010, I started my own production company working with business owners who wanted to create online videos. And that was awesome. And then I was like, all right, well, this is cool, but everybody has the same questions and concerns when it comes to video, which is like, hey, I want to make video, but I don't know what kinds of videos I want to make. I want to make video, but I'm not comfortable on camera. I want to make video, but I don't know how much it should cost. And oh yeah, I don't have a budget for it. So I was like, all right, back to the drawing board. And I started another company and then pivoted from that company because I was like, I want to take all of these skills that I have and translate them into an online business that gives me the opportunity to work with people from all around the world and teach them how to create professional level productions on their own for their online businesses. And I started this business in 2013 and I haven't looked back since.
Awesome. And I love that you took that start direction, that motivation from all the questions you were getting, because that's really like your audience telling you exactly what they needed. And Absolutely. You were finding the same thing over and over again. So that's awesome. Let's talk a little bit about video being a long game strategy. Obviously, we know no one does just one video, or if you do, that's not a good strategy. But why is it important to have a strategy with video? And, you know, we can just talk a little bit about video strategy for entrepreneurs.
Sure, absolutely. Strategy is basically everything. So if you don't have a strategy, then you're just creating video for the sake of creating video that's never really going to get you where you want to go. I equate it to going on a road trip. You get in the car and you're driving, but you don't even know where you're going. Yeah. Right. So why would you do
Or
that?
what good is going to come of it if there's no purpose, right?
Exactly. You don't know why you're going there. You don't know where you're going. If I'm just like, hey, let's get in the car and drive. Like, you need to be driving, which you need video, but don't just get in your car and start driving aimlessly around the country, because that's not going to get you. That's not going to get you anywhere. It's not going to get you the results that you want. So you really need to start with a strategy. And one of the things that I always teach my clients and anybody who will listen to me is you must start with the end in mind. And one of the first places I start with that is understanding the 4 pillars of pre-production, which is foundational for any video plan or any video strategy. And they are why, who, what, and how. Right?
Awesome. I think that goes with any type of work that we're doing as entrepreneurs. Like, what is the end result? Is the end result here to sell a product? Is the end result here to grow your list? Like, what are you doing? Because then you can work backwards a little bit.
Exactly. Because if you don't know why you're doing it, then you are just wasting your time. I call it willy-nilly. You're just being willy-nilly about it. So we don't want any willy-nilly videos up in here. So understanding those 4 pillars of pre-production. Why? So why is it important? Why does it matter to you? Why does it matter to your audience? Why should they care? Why do you care? How does it fit into the big picture of your overall business and goals and things like that? So you really want to consider that first and foremost.
And I think having that foundation helps center you.
Yes.
Which is leading into my next question of, you always hear, and I hear it from my clients all the time. It's something that I help them get over the hump of that overwhelm of video and struggling to get on and create that first video that, them putting themselves out there and getting the courage to put aside their self-abasing feelings of, am I going to look foolish? That's a big, big hurdle for people to get over. And I want you to talk about that a little bit, but I think that foundation can help ground you a little bit in those steps.
Absolutely, because it's the unknown, right? And that's what people kind of fear. It's like this unknown realm. Like, I haven't done it before. I don't know what's going to happen when I do it. I'm not really comfortable doing it. I equate it to riding a bike, right? The first time you get on a bike, you're like, I don't know what I'm doing. You might fall over, you need some training wheels. Maybe you need someone like me holding you up from the back, encouraging you and pushing you along to get started. I joke around and say, like, you need to make 100 terrible videos.
Oh my gosh, right?
When I started, coming from a professional background, so when I started my business, I knew I was going to be the face and voice of my business, and I knew I was going to be creating video content to support my business. But what I didn't know was how uncomfortable I was going to be with that. I just was like, this is going to be great. It's totally fine. I'm a professional. I know what I'm doing. No, that's not what happened. What happened
the light goes on, you stare.
Yeah. I was like, oh man. I was like,
the sweaty palms.
Sweating. I was like having like an out-of-body experience where I was like, what are you even going to say next?
I did a whole series last summer in a tank top because I was like, I'm just hot. Okay. Like, I started just a whole bunch of me in a tank top. So
exactly. Sweating because you're nervous and you're just second guessing everything. And even if you're a professional, you're thinking somebody else who knows more than you is going to see it and think you're an idiot and be like, what are you even doing? So you're having this whole conversation in your head while you're trying to be serious and professional and sound like you know what you're talking about, and thinking about all the things is the camera running? Did I put batteries in it? And what's happening? My mouth's so dry, I can't talk anymore. So yeah, that's what happens. And that's what happened to me. And I literally locked myself in my studio and I just kept making video after video after video after video until I had an epiphany.
Did you publish those videos or did you just make them?
I just made them. No one ever saw them. I think I didn't even look at them either.
Oh no, that's great. That's huge. That's a huge tip. Just make the videos.
Just make them.
No one else has to see them.
No, but yeah, exactly. No one is going to be putting your first video up on CNN. You can make that video and then just go delete. It does help once you're beyond the I just going to delete this video stage to look at it so you can see where you want to improve. But before that happens, just getting comfortable sitting there looking at the camera if that's what you need to do. So I did that and I had an epiphany and I was like, this nervousness, this feeling, this uncomfortable awkwardness, this butterflies in my stomach. I was like, you know what that is? That's me growing from the inside out. because I am
Awesome.
doing something I have never done before. So my body is responding with these feelings. And if this is good, I'm like, I'm going to make this good. And this is good. And I'm glad I'm doing this because it's allowing me to grow as a human, and it's allowing me to show up and share for the people who need to hear what I have to say. So I just shift the perspective. So that's like the first thing you can do is just shift that perspective in your head and understand that you're giving yourself an opportunity to do something that you've never done before. And it's going to feel uncomfortable, but that's good. It's a good thing to feel that feeling. It means you're growing. The other thing is when you stop focusing on yourself and all of like, is that how I talk? And why does my mouth move like that? And all of these things, because we are just our own worst critics. We see and hear things that just don't matter to anybody else. Nobody else cares about but us, right? Like, why is my hair doing that weird thing? Like nobody even noticed that, right? Don't worry about that stuff. Take the focus off of you and focus on the people who are going to be on the other side, nodding their head and saying, yes, thank you so much for sharing this. I needed to hear this today.
I was going to say, and a lot of times it's just when you put yourself out there and then you start to see the comments come in or the things like, then you realize like you're making an impact, and that helps to move you forward too.
1,000%. And one of the things I was going to say is that is why I end every single video with the same line. And it is, remember, you are someone's reason to smile. So don't give up. And that kind of came organically about after I decided that I wanted to take the experience that I went through, locking myself in my studio and making video after video, and turn that into a video challenge for people to do the same thing. And it was magic. And people,
is this the 100 video challenge?
This is the from start to start challenge.
From start to start. Okay.
Yeah, I know. I have a bunch of different challenges.
Her video challenges are awesome.
I have a bunch.
They're just about action and really getting you to perform the action so that you're getting over it. And like what you just said, you have to do 100 videos before you're comfortable. So the only way is to do that in an environment that, whether you're directed, because people don't know what to do. That's the other piece. What do I talk about? How do I say what I have to say?
Exactly. So that's what these challenges, it's just like don't look at everything that's happening out here. Just look down at your feet and take that first step, and then take another step, and then take another step. That's how my challenges are kind of organized. It's just about like, what's that next step, then the next step, then the next step. Don't think about the fact that you have to cross the entire bridge and it looks really scary. Like think Indiana Jones, Temple of Doom, the bridge that they get stuck on. And
between the vast divide and over the river.
Don't think about that. Think about the next step. And that's why challenges are focused around like that kind of stuff. So the From Start to Start challenge is that. It's a 15-day free challenge that I run that teaches people how to overcome their fears in front of and behind the camera. Because there's also those like tech gremlins, like, oh, I don't know how to do this and I can't do this. And so those are other things that kind of hold people back, these mindset things where they feel like technology is out to get them. So this gives people an opportunity to work through all of those things in real time without any expectation, without any barriers, without any expectation, and just make those mistakes so that you learn from them, because that's what it's about.
Right. And I love your challenges are a safe space.
Yes.
So, you're able to see what other people are doing, people who can see what you're doing. And it's a safe space where you feel like you are publishing, but your mother's not seeing it on Facebook where you're going to be like, she knows something about me different. It's just other people could be very encouraging in the community. So, and I feel like that's one of the benefits of the challenges is that you are putting it out to people you don't know, and they're seeing something completely different than you're seeing in yourself in your videos. Like people will comment, wow, you're so this, you're so that. And you're like, really? Wow. Okay. I thought
you just gave me the chills. You just gave me the chills. That is one of my favorite things about these challenges, the community that kind of comes together around it and what people are able to do in such a short period of time. It is so transformative and so amazing. So if you don't have the opportunity to join one of these challenges, just do this for yourself. And it's so awesome.
So that would be one of your get started tips. Number one, do a challenge or do a bunch, just shoot video.
Just get started. Yeah.
Have to be published. you touched on the tech piece, and I deal with this all the time in my business. Is people really being afraid of what they don't know and what they don't understand. And I will say to the fact that there's new things introduced all the time. So you as a video person are staying up on the latest technology and different things like that. But you don't have to be all in like that to get started. And I find even for my clients, I give them like an equipment list that's just even a small, like, okay, here are the things you need. I think it's worthwhile to invest in this because if you're going to do video, there are certain pieces of equipment you need. And, for me, it was like, getting a diva ring, a light, like one of the mics so that I sound better when I'm recording, a tripod. So I think some of those basic things are good. Oh, and a Logitech camera. So I have that as like a little sharper thing besides my webcam. And they're not too expensive if you're going to really decide to do that. So what do you recommend like for people to start out as well? Because you're going to have a better experience. You want to sound good. You want to do all that. You don't have to invest in the top equipment. But so what's your direction on that for people with the tech issue and the equipment?
Yeah, definitely. I love all the things that you recommended. And one of the first things I tell people, just so they don't get super overwhelmed or stuck on the equipment piece, is I say, start with what you have. Start with what you have and then upgrade as you go. Because that allows people the freedom to just go, okay, I have everything I need right here. I don't need to use that as an excuse to hold me back. Oh, I can't get started with video because I don't have that fancy microphone. Or I can't get started with video because I don't have a ring light. You don't need a ring light to make a video. You just need a camera. And I guarantee you have a camera within 3 feet of you right now. If you have a budget and it's not a mindset thing about, holding you back by not having the right stuff, and you want to invest in equipment, everything that Sandra just recommended is I would recommend the same tools. Upgrading your camera, so getting like a Logitech if you're using your webcam, and getting a Yeti mic. Audio quality is super, super important when it comes to video. So if you are going to make an investment, I highly recommend investing in audio first. So never really relying on the built-in audio for whatever device you're filming on. So that means with your computer or your laptop, getting something like a Blue Yeti mic or an Audio Technica mic, something that fits your budget and is going to upgrade your sound quality, because that's going to make a huge difference from taking your videos from amateur to more professional. The next thing, yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, I was going to say, I like your idea of starting with what you have, especially for those first 100 videos that you're not even publishing. Like,
yeah, like you don't even know
for that. Like you're not even putting them out there.
Exactly. You first have to make sure that this is the route that you want to go, because you might think like, because so-and-so does video, I totally need to be using video in my business. And video is not necessarily right for everybody in their business. It's a magical, amazing tool. And I recommend that everybody uses it in one way or another. But, doing like the full Marie Forleo produced video TV show and becoming a TV show video content marketer may not be what you need to do for your particular business. You could take advantage of video in a different way. So you don't need to go off the deep end before you even know like that's the road that you want to take.
I am so guilty. Like I've got the spin shoes. I've got whatever. I'm like, oh, I am going to be spinning all the time. I mean, I need spin shoes. I need, I got to like slow my roll a little bit. I tend to be like, oh, I need that stuff. But, I'm glad that at certain points that I did make the investment because I use it. Like, and once you become comfortable, like, that you need good lighting. If you're going to do a video, I might not do videos all the time, but I might hop on to do a Facebook Live, or I might do a series of things and say, oh, okay, now I just plug that in and it's there to go.
Exactly. And that's going back to the challenges, or, whether you do from start to start, you do something different, going back and just using all of the different equipment and shooting at different times of the day and just experimenting and making sure that you know how to use everything for when you do want to use it.
Yeah, totally. I mean, that's the big thing too, because there's nothing more frustrating than being like, how do you screw this thing onto that thing?
Yeah, you're like, oh, I have to go live in like 10 minutes, but my light's not set up and I have you're like putting it together backwards. And
yeah, totally. Totally. Yeah. So I think that's a good, another good tip is like get used to the equipment that you're using, because that whole being comfortable there and that whole piece helps you feel comfortable on camera a little
A
bit more.
1,000%. Because if you're in the back of your head worrying about like, did I do that right? Or is the light going to, blow out? Or did I push the camera record button? Or I wonder how it's going to sound. Like there's a lot that unknown creates a sense of uncomfortableness and fear that doesn't necessarily have to be there if you've just gone through and just practiced with the stuff beforehand and just kind of work through that out. And then that's just another check in the box. Like, oh, I don't have to worry about that because I know how it works and I've used it a million times. It's like driving a car. Like the first time you get into a car, you're like, holy moly, what's all these buttons and what does these pedals do? And how do I even start this thing? You're like super nervous because you're like, oh my God, I could kill somebody in this thing. I don't know how to drive and I don't know how to back up and I don't know how to parallel park. But you have to get in the car and drive it. Otherwise, you're never going to know.
Right. You sparked another question in me is like about the back end piece, like editing. Like, do you teach people how to use editing software? Are there, because that's the thing, like, oh, I want to cut the front off, or I want to add, like, that's always the piece that, like, okay, I've done the live, or I need this video for whatever, but like, now I have to hire some video crew and editors and all this stuff. Like, what do you do on that whole piece with the people that you work with? Like,
I teach them pre-production, and by having the right pre-production, the planning part, and I'm sure you can probably agree when it comes to website design. Like you can't just be like, go to the designer and design the website. No, 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 no. Because what's going to happen is it's going to be a freaking mess.
Yep.
That's the same thing that happens when you're creating video.
Love it.
You can't do video like that. You have to start with pre-production, which goes back to those 4 pillars. I tell people, like, if you don't know the answer to those 4 questions, put your camera down and walk away, because you're going to end up in a disaster at the end when you're trying to like put things together and you don't know, like you just rambled for 10 minutes into the camera, into the mic. And you're just like, I know there was something good in there somewhere. And then you bring it over to like an editing software and you're like, okay, how do I make this like look good? And you just get frustrated and you're just like, you know what, never mind. But if you had taken the time to stop and plan out what you were going to say, know who it was for, know what the strategy was behind it and why you were creating it, and record it in such a way that it's literally like putting together a puzzle, then that's what makes editing easy. And that's usually where I tell people to start. It's not what you think. It's not like starting in the, like, I'm going to teach you how to do all the editing tricks and stuff like that. No, no, no. Because where it starts is in the planning and pre-production phase. That's 60 to 65% of the process.
Oh, I love that. That's awesome, because that's so much of everything that we do. It's like the same sense of applying. Like you've got to, and another piece is knowing your audience. So,
yes.
I that's something that 2 things that I really try and emphasize to my clients are knowing your own voice, and that your own voice by knowing who your client is, who your audience is. And so knowing those things up front, because people say, oh, should I say it like this? Or I tend to write my words, my script out, and I'm saying all this stuff that doesn't even sound like me. And I'm like, just be yourself so that it sounds like you. But I love that piece, because we already had a conversation previously about, I love to riff, but I love riffing with a purpose,
Yes.
So I riff, but I might have bullet points. So I know I'm hitting my points, but I might not have everything scripted out. I like to just let myself go a little bit on it, but there is a purpose there.
Yeah.
So I kind of plan a little bit, but I think with everything that you do better with a little bit of forethought.
Yeah. And you know what? And then you might have like a moment where you're like, oh, what would be perfect if I talked about this here. And if you had just kind of run full steam ahead, you might not have had that moment where you realize like, oh, this works with that and I can do this. And oh, that makes it's so much better if I do it like that. And I've personally done that even with the planning. I'll get to the editing and I'm like, oh, why didn't I talk about that?
Yeah.
That would have made perfect sense. So planning that kind of stuff into it just makes it so much more powerful. Riffing is totally great, but like you said, riffing with a purpose. That you can't just riff to riff, because then you wind up going into Rambleland.
We've all been on a Facebook Live where somebody was just riffing without a purpose.
Yeah,
and, like,
and you know what? Don't do things that you don't like that people do to you. Don't do that to other people. So don't go off into ramble land and you're at the end of the video like, what was I even talking about? I'm sure I said something. I'll edit it together. No. Don't do that. But I think another good point that you made was bullet points. And everybody's because this is a question I get asked all the time, like scripting. How do you script the video? How do you, format it so that it's engaging? And should I write a script? Should I write a full script? Should I just use bullet points? My recommendation, or should I use a teleprompter?
Mm-hmm.
My recommendation is you have to do what's going to work for you. And again, this goes back to, doing those first 100 terrible videos. Like, you're not going to know until you start doing it. You might start with, and this is what I did. I started with full scripts because I was like, I need to be professional news anchor Holly, and I need to make sure every word in every video is perfect. Otherwise, people aren't going to take me seriously. And that's not true. And I found that as I started to kind of be a little bit looser with my scripting, more of my personality got injected into the videos. But I wouldn't have known that if I hadn't gone through that initial process. And I actually needed that initial process to kind of warm up a little bit.
Right.
I needed to be over prepared. Right? Yeah. I needed to be over prepared because I knew that that's what I needed to be able to show up. So you need to work that out and figure out what's going to work best for you. Honestly, now I literally write like 4 bullet points and that's my script.
You just got to make sure you don't forget that last one when you're kind of going off on a tangent, but bring yourself back to center with a bullet point.
Exactly.
So I know that you've got your Video Made Easy subscription launching soon, which is June 1st. And I love a membership site type of thing. I love really having access and deeper access to products. And I think they can be really like a great place for learning. So why did you opt for a subscription for your video versus a course this time around?
So I just had a baby. So, like when you have a baby, like things change. This is my second baby. So I was like, oh, okay, I want to do this differently. And I've done courses before, and I actually had another membership group. I had a membership group before I had my first child. And when I came back, I realized like this had very good intentions, but it turned into something that wasn't working for me. And I felt like I was doing a disservice to the members of the community because it was just formatted wrong. I equate it to like, it was like a big giant swimming pool and people were coming and maybe some people were swimming, maybe some people were coming in and jumping off the deep end and some people were just kind of wading in and other people were just lounging on the lounge chairs on the side. And I was like, this swimming pool experience in this membership group that I created is not working because people aren't getting what they need to be able to take action and get results. And that is what fires me up. That's what I want for people when they come and work with me. I want them to be able to get results. I want them to be able to take action. And it had a lot of amazing information in it, but it wasn't set up where people had like, this is the action you need to do today. This is the action you need to do tomorrow. And I made that
I just want to interrupt and say, every single one of my clients loves to be told what to do. They tell me that. Just tell me what to do. So you setting this up like that is genius because people want to be told what to do. If it's an area not of their expertise.
I want to make it easy for you. Exactly. I've been doing this for, let me see, what year is it? I've been doing this for a long time. And I've been running my online business since 2013. I have formulas, I have process, I have systems, I have checklists. I'm a planner. I love planning. I've done all of the hard work for you. I come from professional video production. So I know what it looks like to run a professional video production. And I know what expectation is there and how I can kind of make that work for you in your business. And I wanted to make this super, super easy for people, which is why it's called Video Made Easy. And basically you get an action plan. Every month I give you an action plan that's based on the month ahead. So you have an opportunity to do what? To plan the videos because that's the most important part.
Oh my gosh, that is a key piece too. You're not like, you have to do this right now. Like there's a buffer of time so you can plan for that action of when it should hit.
Exactly. So in June, you're getting the July action pack, and the action pack is based on video strategies, and it has like a video lesson in it, and it has topical video ideas that you can pull from, not only for video content, but also for, so other social media posts and things like that. It is just, or podcasts, or, it just has a ton of ideas just to kind of get you started. I know for me, sometimes like when I'm doing something that is not my zone of genius, I'm like, God, I wish there was like a template somewhere. Like, I don't want to start from scratch because I have no idea like what it's supposed to look like. So that's kind of another place where this came from for me, because I didn't want people like starting from scratch. Like, I'm giving you all the templates and making it super, super easy for you to take action every single day of every single month. The other component I've brought into it is a lot of video strategy, because again, it goes back to the strategy. Otherwise, you're just creating willy-nilly video. And it's not only a video content marketing strategy, it also incorporates a bunch of ways that you can use video in your business, like to create connection, to have conversations, to build community. There's what I call the vidco factor, all these CO words.
Right. Love it.
Content, community, conversation, confidence, all of this stuff kind of mixed in. And I provide you templates and formulas and worksheets.
Oh, that's awesome. And in that, are those like types of videos that you should have for your business, like an intro video, or this is kind of what to do on a live type of thing? Like, you give direction for each of those different types?
Absolutely. There's recommendations for a specific strategy, and then ways that you can bring that strategy to fruition throughout the course of the month. And then every month is a different type of strategy. You get, breakdown of 4 different strategies, one of which being a video content marketing strategy, which you can use to create your content for your YouTube channel or your IGTV or wherever you're posting your, content for your business. And that, in addition to that, I provide video tools and resources that I use and love that will allow you to
that's awesome.
Save time, because hashtag ain't got time for that. I know everybody's running businesses and taking care of clients, and video is important, but it might not be the first thing that you're doing in your business. So I want to make sure that it is super easy for you to take action and also save time while you're doing it, because it can be time consuming. So really kind of giving you those systems and processes so that you're not reinventing the wheel. Use my proven system, formulas, processes, so that it's easy. You're just like literally check marking the boxes, check. And you're using tools that can add, parts automation, parts just functionality, and really just making it simple and easy.
That sounds awesome. And I love that whole piece of saving time too, because it isn't just time and how long it takes you, but also time and how long it takes you to redo it because you didn't do it right the first time, or you forgot X because you didn't think of that. So I love that piece, because, we all think we can renegade and just be like, I'm going to just do this. And then you're like, shit, I don't do that right. I think that is the time saver is worth, the expense of it. And it's not, it's a great price. Get on the waiting list, everyone. It's worth the price of the program because it saves you so many steps and so much time.
Yeah, you don't have to redo anything. You don't have to try to figure out how to do it to begin with. I give you all of the stuff. I'm so excited about this, because I feel like this is all of the things that I have been wanting to provide. And it's finally all kind of come together now after experimenting with a bunch of different ways to provide my services to people. And I feel like and it goes back to the long game, because I didn't just start doing this. This didn't come to me yesterday. This is something that has been years in the making. I don't know that I could have come out with this type of product in year 1 of my business. Yeah. Because I didn't know enough about how I wanted to show up. And I didn't know enough about what my audience's needs were and how I can be of the most service for them. So this is the fruit of my long game.
Right. Yeah, completely. We all need to, one thing I always tell my clients is you have to work with clients. You can't think your business. You have to work it. And that's why the long game, like it looks like you're an overnight success, the 10-year overnight success, because it all starts to hit at a point, all that experience and all that groundwork. And there is one other point that you forgot to mention about Video Made Easy, which I love because I personally take advantage of these type of things when I'm working in this kind of situation, is access to you directly. Like people can ask a question and submit a video, and then you will directly answer them. And I love that because you just want to know what your particular a question that is in your particular instance for your business, and you can get it answered. So that piece I find super valuable.
Yes, thank you. I forgot to mention there won't be any, mind-numbing, endless Zoom calls that, suck up all of your time. Didn't want to add that as part of this experience because I know for me, I've been in the other side of it, and I'm like, oh, I just wish, I just want to take action. I don't need to sit here for 45 minutes listening to things I already know or things that don't apply to me directly. That's why, that's not part of this. If you have a question, you can just submit a video or an audio message or a text message to me, and I'll get back to you with an answer.
Yeah, I love that because you end up, when you are having action, you're like, I have this one question and I don't have to wait for the Zoom call day for it, or, I want it answered. So that's super valuable, and to get a direct answer on your situation. So
yeah, I am not an absentee. I'm not an absentee person in anything that I do. I love being a part of my communities. I love being there, and I love, helping people and see them actually take action. That's where I feel fulfilled, and that's why I do what I do.
And I love that whole idea too of that's a big driver, just taking action, because when you take action, you get over the hump of it. You get the knowledge, all of those things. So it really all starts with that piece. So it's a good one to remind everyone of. So lastly, I want to talk about the long game. And, you've mentioned, you've mentioned, and we've talked about how video is a long game strategy for your business. And you've been in business so long, what have you used that's a long game approach for your business? Like, is it the systems you've put in? Is it any training you took? Is it ongoing learning? Like, what is a long game practice that you personally use in your business?
I would say planning is my long game system, right? I'm a planner. I love planning, but one of the things I have to be cognizant of as a planner and as somebody who loves planning is that I don't get stuck in procrastinating. What I call procrastinating.
Right. The plan. You got to act. You have to know when to stop planning and start acting.
Exactly. So, just that's actually part of my long game, just understanding that there's a plan that I can fall back on, but also being able to be nimble and quick and respond and go back to the plan if I need to, but understanding that there is a plan moving forward.
Do you plan like January 1st? Let's make a plan. Like, how does planning look in it? Like, to know that there's a plan. I mean, I plan in 90-day chunks for the most part. And I feel like that gives me enough to not, obviously I think about the end game, because where do I want to be, let's say at the end of the year, so I can plan those 90-day tranches out. Yeah. And that also isn't overwhelming.
Exactly.
I'm able to tackle it and say, all right, I'm doing this. So I'm always interested in that kind of like how people set up. Like, I don't have a 5-year plan. I mean, I kind of have a vision. I got a vision, but I don't necessarily have the plan because that, I kind of work in it now.
I like having a plan, but I also like being able to be spontaneous. And I feel like I can be more spontaneous because I have a plan. And I do the same thing. I think like November-ish, October, November, I start thinking about the year ahead. Yeah. And I think like, okay, what am I launching? What am I focused on? What's my word of the year? What do I want to accomplish?
What's your word of the year? Don't skip over that, even though
my word of the year this year is growth. Growth. I want to grow my revenue and I want to grow my reach. So everything that I work on this year, I filter through the word growth. And does this have to do with my revenue or does this have to do with my reach? Otherwise, I'm not working on it. Otherwise, it doesn't fit into what I'm doing. And I have the ability to say no with conviction.
Love it. I'm a big word of the year. My word of the year this year is content. And here we are creating content.
And this is my growth, my reach, being a guest on podcasts.
Awesome. Yeah, I think word of the year is a great barometer. you just have to remember it. And I'm so glad that you mentioned it, because people remember it up until February. It's like going to the gym. Like I seriously, I talk to people who are just like, it's like going to the gym. I got the gym membership in January, and then they forget what the word is. And I am an all year word of the year person.
Yes. Yes. I have my word of the year up here on the wall so I can look at it and just remember what my focus is supposed to be so I don't get distracted. So understanding like what the overall vision for the year is, what the word of the year is, what are my 2 or 3 main objectives for the year, determining what I'm doing in each month. And I've gone through Rachel Cook's CEO workshops and have used her CEO planner to plan those 90-day chunks and looking and being realistic. I got to say that's one of the most long game strategies is being realistic with the planning and not trying to shove 10 pounds of plans into a 5-pound bag, because it doesn't work. And what ends up happening is you're frustrated, you're overwhelmed, nothing gets done to completion, nothing gets done to, the level of which you want to achieve or get it done. And I've been there, done that. I'm not doing that anymore. So being realistic with my time and what I want to achieve and breaking that down into smaller chunks so that it actually does happen.
Right. And I think when you're planning in the 90-day quarter piece,
yes,
it allows you to go smaller, because you're like, all right, what am I going to get done? And some things can move over, but I did my whole year last year. I work with my coach, Jen Lehner, who does the 90-day piece. And she I couldn't, when we went back to look at what I accomplished for myself in my business, because I just said, not what am I focusing on? What am I doing? And it gives you direction. So you're able to say, all right, I've got a day to sit down, or I'm just focusing on this. Like like what you were saying, if it doesn't line up to your word growth, if it doesn't line up to what my focus is for the 90 days, it's buffed off. Like I'm not trying to create a course right now. I am working on launching my podcast, or, whatever it is, that is the focus until the next focus comes up. So
I've learned that lesson.
Minimize.
Yeah, I've learned that lesson the hard way so many times. Like, oh, I'm going to make a course and I'm going to launch this thing, and then I'm going to do like 3 free challenges. And then I'm like, what the hell? Like, whoa, too much. Not being realistic with how long things actually take, especially if you want to create quality stuff. And I'm all about like creating quality and, really creating the experience that I want to have.
Exactly. And continually working in your business. Like that's a piece as well, where it's, I've got clients that I work with. So that always comes first for me. And then it's like, well, what am I going to do? Well, I have to be super realistic, because now I only have this much space to do what I want to do, because I'm servicing these clients. And the same with your subscription, like you're servicing your clients or your course members. However, what is at the pinnacle of what you're doing, then you have to even a smaller slice to be realistic about. And I think people forget that.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, like that. For me, there's times where I'm like, I've done nothing for myself because I'm servicing these people. And that's okay with me, because that's the goal in the end, is to have that. So
but to understand that that's the goal. Like I know that I want to make 100K this year. And in order to do that, I need to, have X number of clients. And in order to have X number of clients, I know that I am not going to have time to work on some other things. And that's okay, because that's what my goal is, instead of like it happening accidentally.
Well, the accidental client. There's your next video fun video. Do you make fun videos for yourself? Like, do you ever?
Yeah.
You do fun ones?
Yeah.
Good.
I'm doing some fun stuff over on TikTok right now.
Wow. I started to follow, and then my daughter got my phone, and she really muffed up my whole algorithm, because now it's like the algorithm of an 8-year-old girl rather than what I want to see. So I'm like, I need to just take it off, and I've just forgone it. So Awesome. Well, I want to thank you so much for taking the time to be here. Everyone, the Video Made Easy subscription service is going to be launching on 6/1, and there will be a link to hollygstudios.com where you can sign up. If you sign up for the waiting list, there's an extra special treat for you when the course launches. If you're interested and it's something you think you want to do, go over there right now and hop on her waiting list and be notified when it launches. But I have had I've been with Holly for a while, and she gives out quality stuff. So I'm excited about this. And I know several people, I'll be sending you the link personally, who need this. But thank you so much for being here, Holly. And we'll see you on the internet. Thanks for joining me today. You can access more info in the show notes at thelonggamepodcast.net. If today's show connected with you in some way, please share it with your friends or hop on iTunes and leave me a review. Until next time, keep playing the long game.